So the encouragement of the Pharaoh officials or challenge to Pharaoh helped him to start thinking of the consequences of resisting. So he's now starting to see the underlying issues, and he says exactly who is going. So he says also exactly in Exodus chapter 10, verse 9. And the answer he is given is, we will go with our young and old, and our sons and our daughters, and with our flocks and herds, because we are to celebrate a festival for the Lord. The fact that he is now asking for details tells you that all this time he never saw the possibility of these people being released. The loss was so huge, he could not see it happening. But now at least the advisors have made themselves seeing that the alternative of destruction is not an attraction. So he wants to know exactly who is going. Have you noted that sometimes you can give your staff or your board information that they are not listening to? That you need to structure your communication such that you give the initial information, and then if, like we saw, Pharaoh has not been really been listening to all that Moses is saying. And we are learning that even we have to be careful how we communicate. We need to communicate such that we can get feedback as to whether we have created a prima facie case before going to the details. Not because we don't have all the information, but because they are not listening to us. The board, the boss, the subordinates are not listening to us. They have a block, what we call a mental block, because that idea you have given them is so strange. First of all, create a justification for the idea before you start giving the details of the idea. Now, officials of Pharaoh and basically people he can trust have made him to see that there is a possibility that it could be destroyed. And so he needs to consider the possibility that the better of the two alternatives to lead the Israelites. Now that forces him to listen to the next line. Okay, you are going. Who exactly is going? Exodus chapter 10, verse 9 says, Moses answered, we will go with our young and our old, and our sons and our daughters, and with our flocks and herds, because we are to celebrate festival to the Lord. Pharaoh said, the Lord be with you. If I let you go along with your women and children, clearly you are bent on evil. No, have only the men go and worship the Lord, since that's what you have been asking for. Then Moses and Aaron were driven out of Pharaoh's presence. You see, he has not been listening. He is claiming that Moses wanted only to go with the men. I don't believe in anything we have seen in the story so far. He has been told only men are going, but he was not listening. So that would teach us to communicate information before we give details, justify the idea, get a buy-in for the idea, then we now start talking about details. So, how is your communication? Do you communicate in such a way that you begin with purpose, a purpose statement? Why is this idea a good idea? How will it benefit? What's the vision? Will it benefit the people you are asking to participate? If so, in which way? Now, once that they get a buy-in, they get interest, now the details will really be of interest and they'll listen. You don't do that, and it will be lost. Pharaoh did not realize that all this while, Moses and Aaron have been asking for the whole tribe to move. But now he's willing to release them until he hears it, all of them. and he's in shock.